Hello and welcome to another episode of Blackjack Movies. I'm your host, Pat Ilkey, taking you through the journey of the best damn Game of Thrones podcast on the internet. This is the Kings of Westeros, and of course, I am joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Danko Yu.
The North remembers, Pat.
There you go. Winter is upon us. All right. So, as we will with every episode that we have of the podcast, it is going to be a breakdown of last night's episode. We're going to give you our takes on what we thought happened, good or bad or whatever. And then at the end of the episode, we will give our predictions of who is going to live, who is going to die, what will we see next week. So here goes episode.
Got ideas.
Nice. Here goes episode 1, the Winterfell episode.
All right, so starts off with March.
Well, even before that, we have the title sequence, which is totally brand new.
Yeah. The first time ever that it's been, everything else has been the same thing with a couple of changes on the city.
Right,
this one's brand new, wall coming down, only 3 rings if you notice the spinning rings. You got the Stark, Targaryen, and Lannister.
But the in-depth view of both Winterfell and King's Landing, where it dove deep inside to build up. And so that I
totally
found very interesting.
CGI.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I guess when you work on it for over a year, you might as well change something else around.
Right? I agree. All right, man. Get to the
so anyways,
entering Winterfell.
It starts off with the march, right? And you got the Northerners watching this army marching towards Winterfell. And of course, you got the Unsullied, you got the Dothraki, and you just start seeing your cast of characters there, So, you see Grey Worm Missandei, you see Jorah, you see Tyrion, Varys, Jon Dany. You just see all of them. They have their little spats over there. The Hound. You just have Gendry. Just everyone's coming through, right? And Arya's amongst the low folk checking it out. And, she sees some of the people she knows. None of them see her.
And you saw that excitement in her face when she saw Jon.
Right.
And that was really...
She was going to run to him or whatever.
That was cool.
Yeah. But then basically they arrive at Winterfell, and you got the scene, where all Winterfell scenes take place in this room where the person in charge is sitting at a table and everyone else is standing around.
Right.
But you got Sansa from our view, you got Sansa on the left, Jon in the middle, Dany on the right? And people are beefing because Jon bent the knee to Daenerys, and who is he now? Mormont girl's giving her, 2 cents, and you could see Dany and Sansa dislike each other from the start.
Jon himself, he doesn't even realize what he is yet. Like, he doesn't know.
Well, Jon's always like a slow learner. He never realizes he's in shit until he is.
You know nothing, Jon Snow.
Yeah, he doesn't. But he's protesting his innocence. He's saying, "I did this for Winterfell, and not because of anything." Yeah, and the thing that upsets me in this whole episode in particular is that you have all these interactions of different characters.
Some for the first time.
For the first time or the first time in a long time, but no happy reunions and always half conversations where you're not saying the entire truth. Like, for example, this is how I imagine this meeting going down. He says, "I don't know what you guys, I've been missing for a couple of weeks. This is what happened. I went to meet her. I would not bend the knee. But then we proposed that we would make a pact with Cersei. So I went up north to grab one of the dead guys, bring him down. This is what happened. We were going to get killed by 100,000 dead people. Jorah, Hound, whoever was there with me, back me up on this. Yeah. We got bailed out by Daenerys and her 3 dragons.
And they wrecked shop.
They wrecked shop and sacrificed herself for nothing. That's when I decided to bend the knee. And not to mention, I don't know if you guys notice, she brought 100,000 soldiers. Don't you think we're better off here?" And I would have slapped some faces around because what are they talking about?
And I'm still the king of the North.
Right. Well, but I get them being, I feel like the North people watching him walk in are like, these guys are conquering us, right?
Right.
But if this entire story, I don't understand how anybody could be like, first of all, these guys aren't staying here. They're here to fight this battle that we badly need help with.
Right.
And they are here to help.
They don't want to live in the North.
No.
You see how they're dressed?
Yeah.
The Dothraki in the North, please.
So this is what I'm a little upset with this entire episode.
And I didn't even take it like that. Like, I agree with you 100% now thinking about it. There's other parts of the episode where I was disappointed.
Yeah.
Because I felt like they missed opportunities. Right, and we're going to get to some of those coming up.
But anyways, you have, them beefing this and that, and then Bran says something like, there's no time for any of this, right? And, the Night's King's coming, blah, blah, blah. But that's where it kind of cuts off, right?
Bran is pissing me off, man.
Yeah. I feel like they need to have the Starks come together in a room and just have a normal conversation.
I think they will, but Bran is so like, I'm not really a Stark anymore. I'm not really a person. I'm this three-eyed raven, and that's all I want to be.
Right.
I think he's really got to...
Not even a Stark anymore.
Like, he's got to realize that he is something else, unless he is the Night King, and I guess we can get into that later on in another episode.
It's like, stop being so weird, bro.
Yeah, he's a strange cat, dude.
But the only other thing that happens right there is they talk to the Umber boy, who's the Lord, to gather his people.
Go get your people, bring them here too.
And of course, the Last Hearth, along with Karhold, is the northernmost keep
town
on the way from Eastwatch to Winterfell. So anyway, that kind of plays a role later on.
And they already know that the Night King has broken down through the wall. So Jon is like calling the Night's Watch back. Like, you might as well come to Winterfell because there's no point to stay at Castle Black.
Right. And you have, so then the next scene
is King's Landing. Well, outside of King's Landing. You have Euron on his ships, and he's got, 100 ships, and he's got the gold company.
Okay. And then, so you see a dude that looks a lot like Jaime.
Right.
At the very beginning. When I saw the clip initially, like on the preview, I thought that was Jaime on the ships.
It does look like him a lot.
Yeah.
And then, I felt like all the King's Landing stuff was kind of throwaway.
Yeah. A lot of this episode's just set up and throwaway, but whatever. Okay, so you have Euron and Yara, and he's chit-chatting with her, and you see that I would have thought he would have treated her like Ramsay did to everybody.
Right.
But he's got her just tied up on the pole and chit-chatting with her. He's like, I get bored.
Because you're the one that I talked to.
Yeah, because I cut people's tongues out. So it's like, all right, whatever, Euron. Then you have Euron moves on.
Yeah.
He's in front of Cersei talking some more trash.
It's funny because, we talk about how this episode was just all set up. There's a lot of things that they rushed.
Right.
Because there's only 6 episodes.
Right.
There's so much that they rushed. So
that they should have done better.
All of a sudden, you cut to Euron is now in the Red Keep and, taking care of Cersei, and Yara's left alone, and what do you know? Theon's there to rescue her.
Right.
And that's done in like 3 minutes.
Right. And see, to me, that Theon Yara rescue, that could have been a good 15-minute sequence.
No, it could have been.
Because first of all, it's like she was poorly guarded, whatever the hell was going on there, I don't know. But it's like, how do you sneak in and you kill a couple of guys on the ship and you bust her out? It seems like this would have been a prize prisoner.
Right.
Shouldn't they be better guarded? And if you're gonna rescue someone, seems like it could have been a pretty epic, cool scene.
Yeah.
But instead it was just done in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as they kind of leave, it was like, hey, thanks for rescuing me. And then Theon's like, well, I kind of want to go north. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to go to the Iron Islands and conquer them because they're going to need a backup plan. So that's what I'm going to do.
Right.
And, you should go, And it's kind of like, okay. I mean, it's pretty good setup because you're thinking Yara's going to come out of nowhere like a wild card to hit Euron when he least expects
That's what's going to happen.
That's what's going to happen. The only thing is, it's like, what does Theon expect? Very similarly to Jaime coming to Winterfell. It's like,
he's not
you're not
the
gonna
most,
get you're not going to get a welcome.
No,
you are coming in the wrong place. Even though their heart's in the right place, but I mean, you're not bringing much. Both of you are gimps now. You know what I mean? What are you going to do? So I thought that scene should have been better.
I think both of them, Jaime and Theon, have had this change of heart, right? Where their characters, not necessarily Theon started, but where his middle arc was to where he is now.
Right.
And then Jaime, obviously, where he started, and you see that at the end with him and Bran. But
I've
think
changed.
it's one of those things like, Theon. That whole storyline of the Greyjoys, I'm over it until they have the water battle with Euron.
Right.
You know,
Theon's just I have feelings. I feel for him, not feelings for him. I feel for him because he's stuck between a rock and a hard place where he is a Greyjoy. But he's grown up with Starks,
right?
So he's betrayed whichever family either way, and that's his problem, So I feel for him. But like right now, what's his point? Like he doesn't really have much of a purpose. A glorious death is all he can hope for, And he's kind of did it. He's done his thing with Yara. I mean, that's atonement.
Well, and he already saved Sansa.
So he's done.
Yeah,
his,
like I don't know what his end point will be.
Yeah.
Unless he saves Bran. Because he tried to kill Bran, so maybe that's where
right.
His glorious death is.
Sure, that could be because he's done his thing, and Bran is a good connection. So okay, the other thing we kind of missed is we got Cersei and Euron, of course, meeting up, but they're banging away.
Yep.
He kind of
he weaseled himself in. Didn't he?
Yep. And okay, so they bang away. But here's the thing. It's like he touches her belly, right? And he says, I'm going to implant a baby in you,
get a prince in you, right?
Yeah. So I'm thinking Cersei's playing the same thing she used to with Robert, where she would let him bang her, while when Jaime did too,
right.
To make sure that he would think that the child is his.
That there's something going
to
on.
coincide. Yeah. So I'm thinking she's thinking backup plan here. Because if Jaime isn't going to be around, then this is
she
the
wants
son.
Jaime dead all of a sudden.
Right. And that's kind of the next scene we have here in King's Landing. We got
with
Qyburn coming up to Bronn when Bronn's just having a good time with 3 ladies. I mean, terrible time to arrive. It would have been like, Qyburn, give me 15 minutes.
Give me 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Give me 5 minutes.
But he was a little too eager to get off.
Unless you're hokey, man.
Then you deliver fast. But Qyburn's offer to kill Bag of Gold, he's got gives him the crossbow that Tyrion killed father with.
Right.
And tells him Bag of Gold for
I know
killing both of them.
Listen, I know
both Jaime and Tyrion.
He's a mercenary, right? We know this. But he has deep connections with emotions to both of those guys.
Not to mention, he's learned that those 2 guys are the ones he can work with. He can't work with Cersei.
Yeah. That's true.
Because she already played him once where, she promised him that Stokeworth castle, right? And then married her. She was even the second one in line, and Bronn was all like, ready to kill off the heir and be Lord right. Stokeworth. That's and then she swapped it up on him, you know what I mean? So it's like, she's not to be trusted. And even if he got like a bag of gold, and the smartest thing for him would be to split, I mean, like, he'd need to just leave to Essos right away and just forget about it, because he has no future around with Cersei.
No, he's gonna mosey his way up to Winterfell, just like everybody else, and except he'll decide to fight with Tyrion and
I think that
Jaime.
I think that for sure, and I think that what's coming up in the future with Jaime, we can talk about it a little later. I think Bronn's going to have a part in Jaime's witness for his side,
Oh.
All right. Getting back to Winterfell, well, we also have a little scene with Arya and Jon where they finally meet each other. And
that
by
was
the way,
touching.
Before we have, Jon and Bran, so he sees him for the first time, gives him a big hug and whatnot, and Bran's, of course, being a weirdo, so that's not even worth talking about. But then you got Arya and Jon, they're showing off their weapons.
He's
cool. Got the long claw and used needle, she says once or twice.
Yeah, once or twice.
Yep.
And, he's ready to, he's like, why are you against me when talking about Sansa? You're like, you're gonna back Sansa's play?
Right.
And she's like, look, it's family.
Right.
And she goes, don't
remember
don't
who's
forget
your family.
that. Yeah, don't forget that. And so I think that's also a play to the fast forward of, Sam telling Jon who he really is.
Right.
Because Jon is going to have all these emotional tears now.
Right.
Of okay.
The way this episode was set up with all of these half conversations, it makes it so that there is a strife in